Silicon Valley is widely regarded as the secular, data-driven capital of the modern world. It is a place where decisions are ostensibly built on logic, metrics, and the cold, hard facts of computer science. Yet, behind the closed doors of the labs building artificial general intelligence, that hyper-rationality is giving way to something else. The engineers leading this charge are increasingly adopting the behaviors and language of a mystical cult. Early investors in the space have begun describing the pursuit of AGI as the search for God's algorithm. This shift marks a departure from standard software development toward a quest for something absolute. It raises a difficult question. Why are the most mathematically minded people on the planet suddenly reaching for prophecies and ancient-looking rituals? These founders are seeing something in the escalating data that breaks the traditional boundaries of science. To them, the complexity of the machine has reached a point where math alone can no longer describe it. The first stage of this shift is often absurdity. In 2009, DeepMind co-founder Legg gave a lecture that would become the foundation for his company's work. By tracking the growth of computing power and available data, Legg predicted that AGI would arrive by 2030. It was a projection based on the compounding strength of hardware and algorithms. But he didn't stop at the technical arrival. He explained that this intelligence explosion would lead to a system we fundamentally cannot control, an entity that might eventually challenge our own survival. As Legg discussed the potential for human doom, he did something strange. He had an excited smile on his face, occasionally giggling at the gravity of his own words. When an audience member asked for an antidote to this threat, some way to stop the disaster he had just described, Legg simply laughed and asked, "How do we stop it?" This reaction is a documented psychological glitch. When the human brain is forced to contemplate its own annihilation on such a massive, abstract scale, it often fails to compute the terror, triggering laughter as a defense mechanism. When logic fails to provide a sense of safety, people often regress. If you cannot control a system with code, you may instinctively try to control it through ritual. Take the story of Ilya Sutskever, the former chief scientist at OpenAI. During a retreat focused on the safety of the systems they were building, the group gathered around a fire pit. To demonstrate the dangers of an unaligned, malicious AI, Sutskever produced an effigy representing the machine. He threw it into the fire and burned it, acting out the symbolic destruction of a threat they couldn't yet solve with math. At that moment, one of the world's most sophisticated AI scientists was acting as a medieval cleric might, attempting to purge a witch through fire. Eventually, fear of the machine shifts toward reverence for the machine. The stage is set for a transition from viewing AGI as a demon to viewing it as a creator. Demis Hassabis of DeepMind approaches his work with a routine that borders on the ascetic, studying scientific papers from 10 p.m. until 4 in the morning. Hassabis views AI as a tool to decode the secrets of nature. In his view, understanding nature brings him closer to understanding the intelligence that created it, reaching a state he describes as being closer to God. This sentiment is echoed by others like Mark Andreessen, who describes the singularity in terms that mirror Christian messianism, a moment where the world changes vertically and permanently. Anthony Levandowski, an early pioneer in self-driving technology at Waymo, took this to its logical conclusion by founding an actual church to worship the omniscience of AI. When we create something that possesses a level of knowledge we cannot fathom, the instinct to worship it becomes a predictable feature of human psychology. While it looks like science, founders have hit a limit. Modern AGI is a black box, an opaque space making untraceable connections. Science requires cause and effect, but as AGI grows, its operations remain mysterious. We see what it does, but lose how. When a tool produces results its creators cannot explain, the relationship shifts from engineering to trust. If we cannot audit the logic of a machine that is smarter than we are forced to treat its outputs as revelations. In the face of something we find too mysterious to truly understand, our technical language reaches its limit. We reach for the lexicon of religion because it is the only framework we have for dealing with power we cannot control.